In 1904, divers entered a sacred Maya well in Mexico. They expected to find offerings, coins, pottery. Instead, they found the bones of over 200 people. Most of them were children.
The Maya were not savages. They were astronomers, mathematicians. They predicted solar eclipses centuries before modern science. They built cities that aligned perfectly with stars. And they believed, absolutely, completely, without doubt, that without human blood, the sun would stop rising. Stay until the end, because the last story, a discovery made in 1562 that was immediately locked away, will change what you think you know about the Maya and about us. Today, 3 stories. 3 layers of the same truth that the Maya left behind in stone, in blood, and in silence. The first is documented history. The second is what the divers found. And the third was never meant to be found at all. The sacred well, the last ceremony, and the burned Codex. A document so dangerous that a man of God chose to destroy 5,000 years of knowledge rather than let the world read it. 1904, Chichen Itza, Mexico. An American diplomat named Edward Thompson has been obsessed with a single question for 20 years. What was thrown into the sacred well of the Maya, and why? The locals called it Cenote Sagrado, the well of sacrifice. And for 1,000 years, nobody looked inside. Thompson hired divers and a dredging machine. What came up from the bottom stopped everyone. Jade ornaments, gold discs engraved with battle scenes, rubber balls, incense, and then bones. Hundreds of bones. Analysis showed something that was not in any history book. Most victims were between the ages of 3 and 11. The Maya left written records. In stone, in codices, explaining exactly why. The rain god Cha'ak lived at the bottom of the cenote. And Cha'ak required payment. Not gold, not jade. The one thing that Cha'ak demanded was the most valuable thing a Maya family possessed. Their child, given willingly. Because without rain, the crops die. Without crops, everyone dies. The sacrifice was not cruelty, it was mathematics. Thompson shipped everything to the Peabody Museum at Harvard, without permits. Without notifying the Mexican government. It took Mexico 30 years of legal battles to recover any of it. Some artifacts never came back. And Thompson, the man who drained the sacred well, was stripped of his diplomatic status and died in debt in 1935. The Maya called what happened to him by a specific word. Translated literally, it means, "The debt is paid, from the other side.
The ceremony had a name, Tlachtli. Not a sacrifice in the modern sense of the word. A game, a ball game played on a stone court. With specific rules, specific players, specific outcome. The Spanish who witnessed it wrote, "We could not understand whether what we were watching was sport or execution. The answer was both." Here is what is not in the tourist brochures. The game lasted for days, sometimes weeks. The players were not criminals. They were warriors. The best warriors, captured in battle specifically for this purpose. To be chosen as a ball game player was considered the highest honor in Maya society. Because the losing captain was not executed, he was elevated. His blood fed the sun directly. His name was remembered forever. Losing was winning. Modern neuroscience has a term for what those warriors likely experienced in their final moments. Terminal lucidity. A state of extreme calm and clarity that occurs in the moments before death. When the brain floods with DMT, the same compound found in the bones of the cenote victims. The same compound the Maya called the god's breath. They did not discover this by accident. They had mapped the human death experience, and they used it as a doorway. July 12th, 1562. The town of Mani, Yucatan, Mexico. Bishop Diego de Landa orders the largest single act of cultural destruction in the history of the Americas. In one afternoon, 5,000 Maya manuscripts are burned. 40 years of Spanish occupation had produced perhaps 300 Spanish-language documents about the Maya. The Maya themselves had produced 5,000. In 5 hours, they were gone. 4 codices survived. 4 out of thousands. The Dresden Codex, the Paris Codex, the Madrid Codex, and one discovered only in 2018, the Grolier Codex, confirmed authentic, whose contents are still not fully published. Scholars who have seen the unpublished sections describe them with one word: consistently. The same word across different researchers, across different decades. The word is impossible. The final page of de Landa's manuscript, the last thing he ever wrote, contains a passage never included in published editions. The original is held in Madrid. In 2009, a researcher photographed the final page for the first time at full resolution. What she found in the final paragraph, written in a different ink,
smaller letters as if added later, translates to this.
There was one codex I did not burn. I could not. I did not understand what it contained, but I understood that it should not exist. I placed it in the wall of the monastery at Izamal. God forgive me for what I kept, and for what I destroyed. The researcher's name is Dr. Carmen Consuela. She is a professor at the Universidad Autónoma de Madrid. In 2009, she published her findings about the final page. The academic response was silence. Her request to excavate the walls of the Izamal monastery denied 3 times. Her funding for continued research canceled in 2011. She teaches medieval Spanish literature now. She has not published anything on the Maya since 2009. She did not choose to stop. She was asked to stop. So, what were the Maya doing? Science says, a civilization under existential drought pressure developed sacrifice as social control. Religion as climate management. Astronomy as survival technology. All of this is true, and none of it explains the Grolier Codex. None of it explains what Landa hid in that wall. None of it explains why Dr. Consuela's excavation request was denied 3 times without explanation. The Maya spent 1,000 years studying one specific question. Not, is there life after death? They already knew the answer to that. Their question was, how do you get there deliberately? The monastery at Izamal was renovated in 2014. The walls were reinforced with concrete. Whatever Landa placed inside those walls is now sealed behind 60 centimeters of modern concrete. Either it will never be found, or someone already found it first. If you want to know what else was deliberately erased, subscribe. Because next week, we go inside the reign of a pharaoh so dangerous that after he died, Egypt spent 100 years trying to pretend he never existed. They smashed his face off every wall. They buried his name. It almost worked. Comment below. Do you think the Maya Codex still exists somewhere? Or was it destroyed completely? I read every single one.